Welcome to the second hour of Mindshifters Radio. Today is November the 7th, 2025.
Also, just kind of had this. I had this thing where I was trying to work on my food and all that kind of stuff, kind of a step at a time. But now
Right.
I have no desire whatsoever to eat things that are bad for me. It's not a willpower thing anymore.
Right.
It's just
You
the
you
desire's
finished your
not there.
addiction. You're finished with
Exactly.
the addiction. What I hear you saying is you did some earlier work in that major healing crisis and that orthoeconomy that you did on yourself opened you up to a whole new level of vitality, and at a new level of vitality, you get to look at the deeper, unresolved layers of the same issues. And so it sounds like probably the those core issues were the things that the food addiction was about, and so now it's dropped away because who needs it? That's awesome.
It really did. I listened to your show yesterday, and I think it was Cammie that was talking about like her, I think the smoking and a few other things she was talking about, and it just
Right.
that's just me. It's just like I don't know. I mean, it just that really spoke to me, and I'm just like I said, I almost kind of put off all the other stuff that I was getting ready to dive into because I just feel like I'm getting me back and better and better and better and everybody and it's weird. I mean, I have to assume when I look in the mirror I'm not that much different. I mean, just being realistic, but I've got all my siblings, my friends, everybody, even people on Facebook that they're only seeing a few pictures that are just saying, "What's going on with you? You are just different. You are
Well,
just like,
clearly you're
you
doing your
know,
work and you're receiving the benefits of it. That's the whole idea. That's awesome.
yeah.
And
I
I
mean,
really
anybody out
have
there
to,
listening, just go ahead.
yeah, well, I just really have to acknowledge you because you're out there in Never Land doing this pretty much on your own. Aside from listening to the radio show, you've just, I mean, what's it been now? 30 years you've been picking up the tools and putting the work with without much real contact with us, and doing it. That's, I mean, it takes a lot of gumption. So congratulations.
Yeah, well, it's not on my own. It's listening to all your shows and all that, and I mean, so it's like I said, it's not been on my own. Even though I don't always sign in to the show, I listen to them all. Matter of fact, several times, a lot of them, and it's when you pay attention, and anybody out there listening, when you pay attention to stuff and really listen and let it speak to you. Don't try to just analyze and try to figure out what it's saying. Just let it speak to you. It just opens up the next door and the next door and the next door, and like I said, I'm just really like I said, I feel like me. I can't say like the old me because I'm not even sure when I felt that, but I just feel like this is me,
All right.
that I'm
That's awesome.
turning into. It's great.
Congratulations. And
It's
you're
wonderful.
probably breathing a whole lot more too.
Oh, big time. I even notice that, and I find myself like if something does come up, which really dealing with my mom is about the only thing that's been stressing me lately. And it's not a bad stress. It's just something I have to do. I find
Right.
myself just even stopping and telling myself to breathe, that I'm noticing it more, I guess is what I'm saying. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I just everything. And even people, I mean, there's not too many people in my life I don't like just because I'm just that way. But even people that normally I might say, I don't want to talk to that person. I'm just, I don't know, nicer maybe. I don't know if that's the word, but I don't know. I guess I'm happy inside. So everything around me is happier. I don't know. It's just a good
No,
thing.
that's it exactly. Our natural state, if we had never carried any of these generational patterns of rage and guilt and fear and blame and shame and hatred, and if we never carried any of those, our natural state is simply joy. I mean, hold a newborn baby and tap into their essence, and that's what it is. And then we come into a culture that just beats into us, beats the awareness of the presence of love out of us, and sadly beats into us rage and guilt and grief and fear. And it's just it's crazy, and we're changing it, so that's the exciting part.
Well, that's exactly how I feel, that all that stuff that's been pressing down on me, a lot of it that I didn't even know was pressing down on me, has just been lifted. And even like, I think I mentioned to you before that one of my ex-husbands lives here with me. And it's like we just have been getting along great. We never even didn't get along, which is weird. I would have said, "Oh, we have a great relationship," but it's now we just, I don't know, just everything is better. It's just like people have even noticed, "Wow, you guys get along great. Are you guys back together?" And we're like, "No," but it's just like everything in my life is just better. Every relationship, everything is just better, noticeably better, and it's just amazing. And I hope anybody that listens to this just keeps at it, because it just really affects everything in your life and everything about you.
Well, it's the natural state of a human being to live in their physiology as and aware of the presence of love, and to simply extend that to others, unless there's something we're in denial of, and then somebody's going to show up and trigger it for us, and then we're going to build a picture in our minds of them and believe it's them. And people, we just in mass, we need to give up that crazy, that it's about somebody else. And it's a major turnaround. So congratulations for making that turnaround. So Linda, you have a thought to add for Melissa?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Melissa. Because like you, my best learning tool is listening, just repetition over and over and over again. And I don't know if it's like you, but that's what I surmise from what you said. I just keep listening. And I've noticed recently, Michael, a release of this pressure to get it right, to do it now, to hurry up. It's just like that's beginning to melt away.
Nice.
The more I reflect on everything's in divine order. The way I see it is not the way it is. It's a very tiny picture of the way it is. So
Right.
Just lighten up. And even now, in a discussion I had with my husband this morning, which could have been a real cementing of our positions, I was able to backpedal and say, oh, this is just how it is for me, and also to stand my ground in gentleness. And I was making connections that I could help him see that I wouldn't have seen before. Oh, this looks just like that in reverse. And
I can stand my ground.
In love.
What I hear you saying is that you're able to stand your ground without bringing the power person dynamic into the behavior.
Or at least acknowledging it if I'm in it, so that I can start disengaging it right then and there. Yeah.
Nice. Sweet.
And that's what I mean about my position. Like we talked about before with my brother-in-law when he said, oh, you're just in a position. It was like, bingo. Oh, is that all it is? Oh, thank you.
Cool.
I don't have to be right.
Yeah.
There's a bigger picture here than what I'm looking at.
Yeah. Melissa, you have any thoughts for Linda?
I totally agree with her, though. It's like you kind of get to the point where everything is just good, and you don't have to force anything or try to hurry it up or anything, and you just really enjoy the moment, and then everything is just coming together.
And then to allow the other one to have their point of view, that's so hard for me. And so it's such a challenge, and to just let go of the reins even a little bit, Melissa, is a big jump for me.
You say that used to be hard for you to do that?
You talking to me?
Oh, it can still be good. It can still be hard for me to do it. It's just how awake do I want to be in the moment, and how awake can I be in the moment? That, thank goodness, I have a strong intellect where I'm willing to reflect as well as to let go on things. Yeah. And I really, I'm beginning to value my intellect, and yet really understanding the limitations of what I say about going down the rabbit hole, never knowing whether I'm going to end in a dead end. and not know how to get out, or whether I'm going to end up at the portal to the Christ mind, Buddha mind, Krishna mind, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
isn't
I
it
just learning to go in the flow.
nice? To me, when I hear Melissa's conversation, your conversation, and I watch what's going on with people in the world, and we watch movies oftentimes just specifically to see the issues that come up. A lot of times we watch movies that are kind of heavy duty with issues, and the last thing we do before we go to sleep is we will say, Ruka, whatever this has stirred in me, please just process it in my sleep, in my breath, and just let things go. But to have this simple awareness of this tool that was delivered 2,000 years ago, to be aware that if you're in pain or upset, there's a goal you're holding, and you can cancel that goal and collapse into and heal that upset. I mean, it's so simple and so profoundly powerful.
The two things I love, Michael, is your emphasis on canceling the goal, and Mike and Tim's emphasis on asking the question, which is also in your worksheet.
Yep.
Asking to be shown. And but you two and Jeanie as well, you're just an amazing trio. And I'm just very grateful for being able to listen in whenever I can. And thank you for all of your good work and your offerings. And everyone else, you, Melissa, and Carrie, and Susan, and both Susans, and it's just a delight to have come home to family, and being able to give up my search for going home.
So welcome home.
Which
we're glad to be
walking,
holding. Yeah, we're glad to be holding hands with you and walking home with you. And we're just doing our jobs.
Yep, and we'll all do it our own way. Isn't that delightful?
Well, actually, no, we're not all going to do it our own way. You can watch people struggle for decades, and they're trying to manipulate and do all the games, and they have no idea that the way you defeat your own carbon-based memory is to cancel the goal that's causing it to do what it does. Nobody frees themselves of that without doing that. That's why most people live and die never knowing they've ever lived and never getting past what's going on in their minds.
Well, that's when I leave them to the spirit, to Ruha, and to their own awakening in their own time.
Cool.
That's what I meant by doing it my own way. It was just like we all awaken when we awaken, and we all grow as we grow. And to allow that kind of permission to someone else gives that to me to take the pressure off.
Cool.
Thank you. I'll have to hang up. Thanks.
All right, young lady, have a blessed one.
She was talking about control, and I probably have in my life in some ways been the biggest control freak in the world, just trying not to let others control me, probably more than anything. And in an odd way, I feel like right now I have more control over my life than I ever have, just because I am letting everything go and having faith in the universe or whatever you want to call it, because I feel like as long as I'm doing what I'm doing, I do have control over my life, because it's just everything's going to work out as long as I keep doing what I'm doing. And it, in a weird way, gives me that sense of control. I don't know if that makes sense, but.
Well, my offering would be what I hear you saying is you've moved from controller to creator. Conscious creator.
How I put it, and it gives me more sense of security and happiness and inner peace and everything than I ever had trying to go control stuff.
Yeah.
And it's a lot better feeling.
Yeah, control will never produce safety, because control is a reaction. The need to control is a reaction to an internal lack of safety. And until that lack of safety is forgiven, somebody's going to show up and prove to us we're not safe. Once we let go of that creative process, We're safe. So
Yeah.
awesome work, Melissa. Glad you're here.
Thank
You were
you.
missing for a couple of weeks in action. I was getting a little concerned about you, so delight to hear from you.
Yeah. Well, I'm never missing. I'm just not making noise, but I'm never missing.
Okay, cool. That's fabulous.
Thanks.
All right. Well, any other thoughts for you?
Not for me. I'm just
All right.
hanging out, doing what I need to do.
I get your heart blessings.
Thank you.
So anyone else want to report in anything exciting happening in your world? What's on your plate to be resolved? Susan Flueck had sent me a text. She's been inquiring about regulatory. Well, the way you spoke it, Susan, was regulatory language, and laws of living we refer to as regulatory speech. And I'll send you the essay from Laws of Living. That's a big part of the Laws of Living class. So I will once I get to my computer, I'll send you that essay, and it'll give a bigger, rounder picture.
Okay.
But our speech represents the frequency of our thoughts, and of course, our thoughts are what mind energy becomes flesh. It literally becomes our chemistry. Our chemistry reflects as emotion, and it controls our creative process. It's behind everything, and I think that's why the scriptures talk about it as the power of life and death literally is in our words.
I'm really seeing that now. As even was on another group, consciousness group, and I'll say, and I see, how I always say, I'll never quit. Well, I used to say, I should say, I notice other people say that a lot. And underneath it, right, it negates the not. And so it is putting into the field the energy of quit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a vibratory world, and the word not, if I say don't think about the color of your car, the only thing that moves in your brain cells in response through resonance is something about the color of your car. So whatever it is I don't want to have happening, guess who's going to show up? Somebody delivering it. Life is construction and delivery, and the frequencies we engage in, which is one of the reasons for really paying attention to speech and shifting out of, one of the other corollary arenas that a lot of people do is they're into affirmations after affirmation. And their affirmations are all about what's not going to happen. I'm never going to have anybody else like that in my life again. Well, guess what? Whatever the them like them is in brain cells, that's what you're calling for in the universe. Shift into a mind shifter. Gee, people always treat me lovingly, gently, and with respect. And then whatever that is, it's hiding in my unconscious. I can use that as a catalyst to bring it up and go, oh, I think I'll throw that one away. I think I'll forgive us to that one. So it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, for sure. So yesterday I went to one of my healers, and of course this is it's going to be interesting what comes up, and it came up in Dr. Tim's support group last night around sexuality and sensuality,
Right.
and how in my world, they're meant to be like this, right? So I've shut them both down. I'm just, on my past self, shut them both down. So not open to sexuality and also not even open to sensuality. So it'll be and I can feel lots of stuff in breath this morning. And since that they got opened yesterday, and even Dr. Tim getting to that conversation last night, I'm curious. It's going to be interesting to see what's revealed at this intensive.
Well, it's interesting how old the idea, I mentioned in my book, Why Is This Happening to Me Again? The culture's idea, sex is dirty, save it for the one you love. And it's just so stupid,
Yeah.
I mean, even in the scriptures, you go back and the creator's talking about bodies, and the phrase comes forward from the creator. Who even told you were naked? Like, who well, where did you get all these realities? And of course, in abuse, some painful and traumatic realities tend to form, and of course, they get stored in the tissue where the assault happens. And so as you open up and let go, life returns, life more abundantly. And
Hmm.
when that happens, a wondrous thing called sexuality is allowed to open. And how cool. What a gift. What a precious gift given from the Creator. I think those
Hmm.
priests who were sworn to celibacy, and if you look at the history of celibacy, celibacy was not about not being sexual. Celibacy was about not having babies. Because if you were a member of the church and you had babies, the babies would inherit the property you got for the church. The church didn't. So the priests were sworn to celibacy, and of course, if I can't have any, you can't have any either. So it's just
Hmm.
it's just bizarre that one of the most awesome, sweetest gifts we were given as human beings has been turned into such a control, such a bizarre game.
Yeah, for sure. And it's interesting because, I keep us talking about not quite tapping into joy yet, and through the breath, I can start to feel the sexual energy, or is it this, I don't know, creation energy, I'm going to call it rather than sex, because I still have a storyline about sex is yucky.
You
So
know,
that's a little girl self, right? In fact, even talking about it, I can feel that
I'm
that's right
breathing with
there.
you.
Yeah, so I look forward to having that lifted and in breathwork the last 2 days. Yeah, I could feel that energy. And when I was in Kauai, one of my male healers said that you have powerful sexual energy, right? This energy. And I'm like, what the hell is that? I don't even know what that is. I'm not tapped into it if it's there. But I can now, and then with my healer yesterday, a lot came up about that. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see as I open that up, my willingness to allow that to open within me. And
Well, I
it's a
think it's the
lot,
same principle.
yeah,
Go ahead.
and the SI joint that's locked on my right
Right.
side. Lots came up about belief systems, believe it or not, that I, right from 4 weeks old, there was stuff that was being downloaded and imprinting. And this
Mm.
about women being weak and the power structure. Very interesting stuff. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the next level of vitality around this.
Yeah, go for it. And what Melissa was just talking about is exactly the same principle. What she's finding is as she processes out the things that don't belong, natural aliveness, natural joy, natural
Yeah,
delight in life is there. And when I process out of any particular part of the tissue structure that's been assaulted or injured,
yeah,
then the natural energy that's meant to be there becomes active. And
yeah,
it's wondrous. And again, it's a really direct gift from the Creator. I remember a couple of years ago, I was doing a really deep still point session, and I asked, I was in this really deep connected space, and I asked about sexuality, and the instant answer that came back was, "Well, that's one of my greatest gifts I gave you."
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I know that's definitely I'm blockage to truth on that one. That's the one that's the next one to be able to,
and I
yeah,
think
to clean that out.
yeah,
Yeah,
another level of it is that the natural body rhythms that go with physical intimacy correlate directly with the uplink
mm,
and tapping into that uplink in the corpus callosum area of the brain. It's part and parcel of it. I
yeah,
think that's one of the reasons why, you know, churchianity said no, 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 bad, dirty, all that insanity. Because if people have their own direct uplink, all of a sudden
yeah,
those who live off of controlling other people are out of business.
yeah. Yeah, they did a good job of they did, like really they get an A plus, or the game gets an A plus for getting us disconnected from that part of creation. Boy, oh
Yeah.
boy, because you can't go home until to really be fully incarnated. That piece is important as a
Yep.
connector.
Absolutely. I'm with
Yeah.
you 100% on that. So
But
holding
so
a space for every layer that needs to come up.
Yes, sirree. That's going to be an interesting. And this time I was saying to Anita and also to Andrea, because already, and I think said to Cami too, already start looking for the clues because things are already starting to land. I
Mm,
can see I want to say looking for the bits of information and the themes that are starting to emerge and the clues how they're
right.
coming in. And it's almost taking me down a funnel. Okay,
Mm,
this is going to be the area we're working on. And trusting the process, being willing, and also what Dr. Tim said, which I love, and I think I'm getting there, is not to take life so seriously. Lighten up.
yeah.
It's,
Angels fly because they take themselves lightly.
I know that's gonna be my next gift into the world, to lighten up and just,
Mm,
and yeah, life is a play. Like it's a play. I'm here to play. I don't have to, it's not slugging it out and suffering, which
no,
I've mastered that one already.
enough's enough. Eh?
I've mastered that. I get an A++ for that one.
I hear you. I hear you.
Now I get to build, thrive in lightness and play and joy and laughter and all that. So yeah.
The other thing the culture's done, because the sexual aspect of life has been so tamped down, suppressed, shut down, is that that energy comes out then in twisted ways where people are
Mhm.
out of integrity
Yeah.
and can't imagine being in integrity because there's so much confusion
Yeah.
and cleaning up the mind. Like, at Heartland, one of the things we announced, we ask everybody in an intensive to do the first night is that if you came here with a partner, be
Yeah.
intimate. That's wonderful. We actually had a couple that were in the early 70s and showed up at an intensive once. He was a minister, and his birthday, I forget, it was his birthday or her birthday, came the week they were at the intensive. And what we ask is for those who were not in an intimate relationship when they came to an intensive, that because sexuality is also such an addiction for many people, that they
Mhm.
make an absolute commitment to celibacy. And we make it clear, if you came in a relationship, wonderful, that's great. But if you didn't, this isn't the place to start. If there's somebody you're attracted to, great, be attracted to them, but be in integrity. And over the years, because of the way people would find ways to work around it when they made that commitment, but then they'd have an excuse when they broke the commitment because it was such an addiction. What our language is now, speaking of regulatory speech, is we ask you to commit to celibacy in thought, word, action, and appearance while you're here. If you're attracted to somebody and you want to create a relationship, great. Wait till after the workshop, because here's what I noticed happening is that if people did engage in their addiction to sexuality with someone who they met at the intensive, and boy, I can escape what's coming up now. Later, when they realized what had happened, there's resentment because I was there to do some work and you distracted me, like, the blame game. But anyway, this couple was in their 70s, and at the end of the intensive, this conversation came up, and they had misunderstood and thought that they were required to be celibate as a couple. And it was their tradition that they were intimate on their each other's birthdays. And again, I
Oh.
forget which birthday it was, but at the end of it, it was a good laugh for everybody, and they were real light about it. It's like, oh, we've missed it. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah. Oh,
what
that's
fun.
funny. And then, yeah,
Yeah.
you think about you go into these intensive, it's just well, it can be a distractor, but also dissociation from what, when you focus out there, when it should be the internal especially at these intensive, right? To go inwards and do the deeper
Yeah.
work in there. So, well, hopefully there's no one there that I'm going to be attracted to. Let's say that so I can stay focused in my inner world. Keep me in check if there is.
Well, that'll be up to you. But if
Yeah.
someone is there, then you just recognize you made a
Yeah.
commitment. I'm going to stay in
Exactly.
integrity with my commitment. That's all.
Yeah.
And, you know, an intensive is a natural place to meet somebody because where do you find people who are willing to do their work?
Yeah.
And I think, especially as a female, you know, most men are so locked down and trapped in that, macho game that, a male that's willing to really dig in and do his work is a pretty rare bird. And so it is a natural place to meet people, but keep the commitment of celibacy throughout the intensive, and then should you choose to create relationship, awesome.
Yeah.
We've seen several people over the years that have created very successful relationships, having met in workshops.
Yeah. I'm just mine is salvation, returning home. It's all a mirror. It's all an illusion, as you said. Smoke and mirrors.
Smoke and mirrors.
That's it.
Cool.
Thank
Well,
you.
any other thoughts for you today?
No, I think other than, I'm just to feel lots is happening like I do, right? Like this whole piece is open. I don't even know how to describe it. There's lots of energy moving,
Or of your
or
antennas loosening up.
when it's pulsing, and I've
Those
noticed,
pulses are awesome.
and some of it I don't have language for it, and it was last night, bedtime, I was doing the breathing, and I didn't get to sleep till 4. It's just in breath. And it's really uncomfortable, and just staying with the discomfort, just observing it without. Before I would just get antsy and just wanting it to change. I could still feel an element of that. And then Dr. Tim says this too shall pass, so just observing it and then watch it transform into a new sensation in a different
Right.
area of the body, just doing my best to be with it. But there is discomfort. It feels, I can see myself wanting to find labels for it, but I can't. It's just a sensation. It's before language. Must be
Yeah.
before language, because I can't find it, but I can feel the discomfort in the body.
Just focus on letting it open and
Yeah.
let it move into that state of mobility where it can adjust to its own next highest level.
Yeah. And there was a
That
lot
to
of
me is one of the biggest gifts we can give
yeah.
ourselves.
And there was a lot of still points happening last night for sure. Like the breathing stopped, and lots of, like, it was, and almost like I wasn't even there. This stuff was happening on the body, but I could observe things happening on the body, and especially in here, right? And through here and coming down here. And yeah, that whole, so just have to keep trusting. So yeah, that's all I had to say.
Sounds right on target. And I think maybe Sally had a thought for you. Sally, you had your hand up.
I was just wanting to chime in a few times while Susan was chatting. I first of all wanted Susan to know you're not the only one that was delivered the yucky message. That I wasn't raised Catholic, and I never knew where celibacy came from, so that was fascinating. But I was raised with the idea of sexuality yucky, and I was raised with confusion. And so I texted in the chat, I, I like the commitment to celibacy during the workshop because, I've had a number of different workshop experiences where male and female humans were, were inviting me to intimacy, and I was just confused. I dealt with it the way I always do, which was to pretty much run. But it's there's more for me to uncover there, and I have. The other night, I was going out with a group of my sailing buddies, and we went to dinner at this nice place, and I just, dressed professionally the way I do when I'm like giving a talk or something. And a bunch of people, my sailing buddy said, "Wow, you always dress so masculine. This is like a whole new side of you." And I just was struck with that, how many people that I sail with see me as very masculine. And I realized a bunch of things. I did a bunch of worksheets recognizing the only way to connect with the father that I had, my biological father, didn't really know how to deal with a girl. And I was the firstborn. And I realized the way to connect with my dad was get really good at using tools, learn how to fix things, learn how to fix cars, you know, uh, learn how to throw a really good football, learn shoot hoops. So, I went to the degree of developing an eating condition called anorexia where I just didn't eat. I just didn't eat. And so I got to be a better gymnast and could perform at very high levels on a mat and on even parallel bars and balance beams and all that jazz. I could fly through the air and stick the landings, but it took a toll on my body, such a toll that I didn't know it was taking. And I realized this whole life story of not wanting to be in the feminine.
Mm-hmm.
Like it wasn't safe at all.
Yeah.
And so, I've had a knee replacement on my right knee. I've had a shoulder replacement on my right shoulder. It's like, wow, this is fascinating to begin to gather pieces together and recognize it's time for me to breathe through this and to let whatever wants to be revealed so that whatever can be healed.
Yeah.
And I think that's all I had to say about that.
We
Thank you so
welcome you.
much. Yeah.
Thank you.
We welcome you, just who you are, just the way you are.
Thank you.
And it sounds like the message was given as who you are isn't acceptable, but you'll be acceptable if you're this way.
Yes.
And that sounds like some deep, that's a place where I'd be digging out the Power Person worksheet.
Oh, I
through
have
that.
been. I
Yeah.
am.
Yeah, good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sally. So much pressure with what you just said is coming right at my neck, going up into my head, and so can relate. Somewhere along the line, I think I said this in the codependency, and this was energetic. I wouldn't say I got there logic, but somewhere it was weak to let out the feminine. I suppressed my femininity. And also
Yes.
my sexuality, I suppressed it, and that's what's locked in my I believe in my SI joint on the right side. So I suppressed it, and then I became hypermasculine energetically. And I've worked, I'm a forester by training. I've worked in the mining industry, tugboat industry, the only woman on the executive team, and and I tried to compete with them masculinely. And I really suppressed the feminine. So I so relate to what you said, and thank you, because it was a message we were given. For me, it wasn't safe to be in the feminine. The other thing that came in the healing session yesterday, this is new language for me, but even when I did express, even as a little girl, predatory behavior was reflected back. And I don't know how to reconcile that yet. And also knowing it's a bit of cognitive dissonance, because my soul knows that would have been an energy I was putting out, but the little girl doesn't understand that within. And so I just it was just safer to shut that down and then shell in as masculine energy, like hide the feminine. And then I portrayed the masculine energy and don't come anywhere near that, or it wasn't safe to let the feminine out. Yeah, I can really use sharing all that. I can just, it really, really resonates. Thank you for that. So
breathing with you.
Yeah, it's time we are
Everybody
feminine.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's to let this gentleness, and if I said this out loud, that my heart is very tender, like just who I am, very innocent and pure, and that gentle nature of the feminine, that is my natural state. But it didn't feel safe to let it out. So I'm learning that now, little by little, with everybody that's been in the codependency, and with Jeanie and Michael holding space, and Dr. Tim, that part of me is starting to come out. So I'm very excited about that.
And we promise you'll be treated with integrity as you bring that part of you out and supported in it.
Yeah.
Because that's what you deserve.
Yeah, exactly. And that's so new, to be in a space of a masculine that energy that will hold it as a container and not either want it, that energy, and of course, yeah, I can feel that even fear as I'm talking about all this. But yeah, it's all
Well,
part
breathe
of,
into that fear.
yeah.
Where in your structure is the fear if you take a breath?
It feels in the base of my sacred heart and my solar plexus. Yeah. Yeah, it feels
Go ahead.
it feels like very fearful to come out. Like there's and it's just like a big, and it's going down my liver right down into the iliacus and the psoas and also into that SI joint. Yeah, I feel terror actually. It's terror I'm feeling.
Well, let's just breathe into that terror. It's safe to allow the terror to come out. It's safe to let it unwind through and out of your body.
Yeah.
And to accept that you'll be treated with integrity. And if any danger lurks, without fear, you can allow yourself to become aware of it and just sidestep it because you're aware of it rather than having to lock up, tighten up, hide, shut down.
Yeah.
That you
Yeah,
can stay open and you can stay aware. I mean, there are crazy people in this world and crazy circumstances that unfold, and you can stand in safety and awareness. And if that energy is moving in your direction, you can, like the Tai Chi master, just
yeah.
moves the energy around and step aside.
Yeah, exactly. I can feel, I think it's a 4-year-old self that's really on guard. Like that part, just, oh my gosh, just, yeah, in terror. So there's some worksheets to do
And
there.
yeah, and you deserved it for to be treated with kid gloves and respect and caring and support. There never should have been even the intimation of a sexual thought in the direction of a 4-year-old girl.
Yeah,
It's like
exactly.
crazy.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's there's popping going on in my kidneys, believe it or not, right now.
So breathing with you and stepping into that safe space with a history, a genetic history of assault and such as a female.
Yeah,
And as a female child, just allow everything to do with that to open. And how many of your generations suffered through that? Or
yeah. Even my nieces, and I can tell you in this life, my sister, my nieces, yeah, my mother. Oh,
so opening the space for full breath, go to the deepest levels on a tissue level and on a genetic level to let those energies be liberated, be forgiven.
yeah.
And again, that you can do that and still have your intuition working so that if you need to sidestep a danger situation that shows up, that you know exactly how to gracefully and safely do that.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that that ever has to even be part of the conversation, but it has to be part of the conversation.
I feel now I wouldn't like now when I know. I guess if it did show up, it would just be an opportunity for practice, right? Like my intuition is very high. I can pick up things and I have the awareness now to be conscious and also doing in a loving way. Doesn't have to
Yeah,
be in
staying
a,
connected rather than out of
yeah,
fear.
and out of fear, just saying no, thank you. Thank you. I've learned that lesson, you know. Yeah, like two ships
And
passing
that
in the
you get
night.
so clear right down into the genetic level
Yeah,
that there's nothing, no energy in you that even
yeah,
responds to that sort of insanity.
Yeah.
And in fact, even taking it to the next level of the vitality that flows through you disarms, literally. Uh, you think about a storm comes in and washes away what doesn't belong, that the energy is so powerful in you and clarity that if any of that even comes close, it just washes away, just flushed away. And
Yeah.
that people in your presence automatically step into integrity.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel that it's a transfer, transmutation can happen, holding the energy of love for
Yeah.
anything that's unlike love to be transmuted in my presence.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Good
Thank you
breath.
so much. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that's
time.
such an important piece of work on the planet right now.
Yeah, it is. I can feel
So
it.
important.
All of the in humanity where, you know, I can feel where the love of power overtook the power of love, and power over women giving, well, that we projected that we had no power. That's not, seeing my losing my sovereignty or giving, I don't even know how to word it, the loss of sovereignty.
Well, and that on the other side of the equation, the male that would lose awareness of who he is as a being then trades in sensation for as a substitute
Yeah,
because lost in and disconnected, anyone who's connected couldn't possibly assault another. But that
yeah,
disconnected state, then sensation becomes what it's all about.
yeah.
And
And
it
that's
just,
the just realizes you're saying that the whole sexuality and sensuality, it's I've separated the two, but I also am dissociated from the two. And so Cami and I at the call last night with Dr. Tim, first of all, joy equals safety, opening that up, but also sensuality and sexuality equals joy and safety.
yeah,
That
safety, being honored and respected.
Yeah, yeah, to be respected and to receive and also being sovereign like that. That I get to own my no and all those things.
Yeah.
Oh boy. I can feel lots of stuff moving. Thank you guys.
There's another piece to this puzzle that feels appropriate to bring up at this point, too, and that is that when a male in this culture is hypersexual, it's looked like some sort of a feature, like, wow.
Yeah.
And a female who is in her natural connected space, if she becomes or moves in that direction, all of a sudden she's something less than human.
Yeah, we just like
That
Mary
whole,
Magdalene, you'd be a prostitute or a slut,
yeah, that whole
right?
mind energy thing's just got to be healed. It's time.
Yeah. I had a girlfriend, one of my childhood who I saw in Mexico, was very sexual, very young. I've known her since I was 9, and she couldn't wait to have sex, like telling me, she was 3 years older then, but she always was very highly sexual. And I remember judging her like you wouldn't believe, just not anymore,
That's what
but
the
back
culture's taught. Yeah,
taught. And she just owned her sexuality. And I just was disgusted by that because the blame saying, look what you're
yeah,
drawing to women and all that
yeah.
stuff.
So,
Yeah.
so my offering would be that you might want to do some worksheets on disgust, because of
Yeah.
course, remember our definition of denial. When I think or speak as though something outside of me, I'm
Yeah.
disgusted because of, no, you weren't disgusted because of that.
Yeah.
There's
Exactly.
disgust in there for healing, and that's
Ah, yes, around sexuality.
gets
That's
so wound up.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can feel that. It's just tense. So, okay, I got
More work to do. Oh my
more
God,
work.
how lucky you
Yay!
are.
Oh, new level of
Gee,
vitality. Yay!
goodness sakes.
Doesn't end.
All
Never stops. Next level. Awesome. Thank you guys very much for this.
right. Well, anyone else, any thoughts to share? Oh, there's Miss Susan. Hey there, Susan B. We've just had a great conversation about sex and you missed it.
About sex. I know all about sex. I don't need to
Oh, you
hear
got
it.
you
I
got that
was
one all
listening.
handled. You don't need to be part of the conversation. Okay.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I was on a call I had to take. Sorry about that. I told Jeanie I would have to do that.
That she
So,
said you. Yeah.
all right. Well, I'm surprised you popped me right in as soon as I logged on. Are you the
Ah.
secretary today, Michael?
I'm not actually sure. I was the opener. I was the opening act,
Oh, wow.
and because we had the baby, and Jeanie was engaged with the baby when we had just finished feeding him, and so she was engaged, and so I was the opening act. But I'm not sure whether Jeanie's
That's
with
okay.
us.
Oh, okay. Let me look at the participants. Yeah, she is, but she's muted. Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm here. I've just, he's making a lot of noise in the background. He's playing
Okay.
music.
Oh, okay. Hi, Jeanie. The toothless wonder, the foot person. Okay.
Now I'm not sure how those two fit together. Toothless wonder, foot person. Right? You
That's
lost
Jeanie.
you lost me somewhere.
Jeanie with her tooth extraction in her foot. I just,
Okay, yes, yeah, two in a row.
yeah. All
Well, we
right.
had a doctor's visit this morning, and
Yeah,
things are looking like they're on track. So.
good. Good. Sorry I missed the discussion. Don't let me interrupt. I'm in, so wherever you're at, I'll listen.
Well, actually, we had just kind of, I think, completed, unless anybody else has a thought to put in the mix. Linda?
Yes, I just wondered how Jeanie hurt her foot because I didn't hear about that except post fact.
Well, last week, two
When
weeks
did
ago
she
now.
do that?
2 weeks ago
Wow,
now.
broke her foot?
2 weeks ago now, we went to the beach with kids. We and the other grandparents and our two kids here got a house together down in Destin, and the sand in Destin is really fine, powdery, thick, heavy duty sand. And Jeanie did some walking on the beach and also hauling. We had several things. We took a tent with us, and we took a cooler, and we took a wagon of stuff, and all that walking, she hurt her foot, and just thought it was stress from the unusual angles that you end up with when you're walking on sand like that. But and then Friday, she was coming down the steps, put her foot down on the last step, and cracked. Heard it crack and break. So she broke her fifth metatarsal, and the when they did the X-rays, the suspicion was that she actually did a stress fracture on the beach, and then just put her foot down just the right way or the wrong way that it actually broke the bone. So she's got a boot and crutches, and it changed our routine. It's
Going my
changed our
route. Huh?
routine. It's changed our routine significantly. So.
Yeah, ask Larry. My broken fibula changed our routine too. So we're going to have the broken foot club pretty soon, Jeanie. But mine's healing now. Just keep
Good.
looking forward. It'll get better. All right. Thank you.
Awesome. All righty. I see that there was a message from Cammie that she was having trouble getting in. And we've lost her. Bummer. Well, Cammie, we extend love in your direction.
Yeah, she kept getting knocked off for some reason, and I asked her if her internet signal was okay. And when she would try to come back in, I'd click to admit her, and it would just sit there and spin. So I'm not sure what's going on there. So she
Sounds
just
like
said,
poor
"Hey, everybody,
connection.
have a good weekend."
All right. Well, we're down to about 3 minutes. So anyone have a brilliant thought to share? A not so brilliant thought to share? Well, how about if we just take the last 2 minutes of our space together and let's link up energetically and just let your jaw soften. Allow yourself to just take a few connected breaths. Remember, the breath is the vehicle that carries intelligence into the structure. And so joining you in your direct connection, it's interesting. Those who fall into weakness try to force others into weakness so that there is a codependency. And to let go of all of that codependency stuff and stand in your own direct connection to source. That's the whole objective of this work. To forgive every reality, everything that's ever divided you from source and had to look outside yourself. And that can come in all sorts of ways. So we just invite you to just your direct connection to the only source in the universe of intelligence is your breath, entering your nostrils, entering your lungs. And actually, when stepping into doing process work, we suggest that you don't breathe through your nostrils, but that you breathe through your mouth. And the reason for that is because, as you've heard me say 1,000 times, if you're going to heal, you got to be out of your mind. And when you breathe through your nose, up through the sinuses, there are openings that oxygen keeps being fed to the brain and keeps it, bang, 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 keeps it going. Where when you breathe through your mouth, it lets the brain soften a little bit and let go. And it makes it easier to be out of your mind. And recognize that the divine intelligence flows into your structure directly from your breath, your connection. So joining you in being aware of your direct connection to source. And holding the space that as you connect in deeper and deeper ways, deeper and deeper layers and levels of old issues and old traumas can come to the surface, and it's safe for that to happen and to let go. And thanks for choosing to be with us and let go. Blessings.